I'm going to talk this week about some of the short stories of the Russian writer Mikhail Zoshchenko. This is a guy who writes under Soviet communism, and he doesn't argue with it. You'll see his stories don't try to engage in any kind of polemic. They just depict life under Soviet socialism. The argument is sort of baked into the narrative. And typically you have a narrator, and you have to ask the question, is the narrator actually Zoshchenko? And it kind of is. But Zoshchenko took advantage, by the way, of this narrative device, because whenever he was approached by the Soviet authorities, why are you saying this? He would say, well, that's not me. That's my narrator. He's a crazy guy. He says crazy stuff. So this is the kind of ingenious way that Zoshchenko was able to sidestep scrutiny by the authorities in an age of censorship. Obviously, censorship that somewhat resembles what we have today. And you also notice as we talk about the stories that these are stories about ordinary people. And we have to remember that ordinary people were the people in whose name the Russian Revolution was made. Yeah, we're going to be fighting for these ordinary people. We're going to improve the lives of these ordinary people. And Zoshchenko says, well, let's see. So this story, as it begins, you have a guy, he's walking on the street and he sees a truck and it's hauling a load of bricks. And he goes, wow, this is really good news. He goes, because they're probably going to be building a house somewhere. And he says there's a massive housing shortage, obviously in the Russian town that he lives in. And he says, this is, he goes, it's really hard to find an apartment, even a single room not available. So we're getting here at an issue that plagued Soviet socialism for 70 years, which is shortages of food. Here we're talking about the housing shortage. And he goes, maybe they're even going to be building apartments with a bathroom. He goes, that's like a luxury. Now, he says that he's experienced this crisis firsthand. This is the narrator talking. And he goes, I've been trying to get an apartment. And he goes, finally, I found this guy. And the guy goes, listen, I don't have an apartment, but if you really need it, if you're completely destitute, I can set you up in a bathroom. Now, let's remember that in those days, the apartments in the Soviet Union don't have bathrooms. There's like a bathroom down the hallway. So all the apartments are occupied, but this guy gets the bathroom. And the guy goes, it's not so bad. You can kind of manage in the bathroom. There's no window, true, but there is a door. And of course, water is available right there. And so this guy goes, I'm not a fish. I can't live in a bathroom. And the guy goes, well, that's pretty much it. He goes, take it or leave it. So this guy goes, okay, fine. And he says it was really uncomfortable. I mean, there's hardly any place to sit down. And then after a little while, the guy gets married. So what happens is his wife moves into the bathroom. And after a little while, they have a kid. And the kid lives in the bathroom. And he goes, this was a little bit tough. But he goes, the only silver lining was that, the kid, he goes, we would let the guy sit basically in the bathtub. And he learned to swim. So our kid actually became kind of a good swimmer because of the easy access to the bathroom. But the problem, of course, was that people had to use the bathroom. And so they would be constantly interrupting these guys and coming in the middle of the day and even at night, I got to use the bathroom. So basically they set strict timings for people to use the bathroom. They're like, listen, we're not going to let you in unless you show up between these hours. And of course, those people were unhappy, but too bad. There were 32 people using this bathroom. But then this guy goes, things really got out of hand when my wife's mother wanted to move in because when she moved in, now we have me, we have my wife, we have my kid, we now have my mother-in-law. And then he goes, initially it was all right because she essentially found a small spot behind the water heater. So she wasn't too disruptive to us. But then she goes, I want to bring my other kid. In other words, the wife's brother. And this guy goes, that's too much. I'm out of here. I can't stand this anymore. And so he leaves this town and he goes elsewhere and he says, listen, I found a job. And I found a place to live, and now I send those people money. So evidently, as the story ends, they're all still living, at least his family minus him, in the bathroom. Now, this is intended humorously, but let's notice it's not all that far off from the truth. This actually was living conditions, not just, by the way, in Soviet Russia. These are living conditions you see in a lot of socialist societies. This is the way it is in Cuba. This is the way it is today in Venezuela. And so here you have Zoshchenko, and he's just describing. He's sort of a sketch artist, but what he's capturing is the way in which policy has a huge impact on the way ordinary people live. And ordinary people, being as they are, they're survivalists. They can endure a lot. They try to do it with a sense of humor to the best degree they can. But at some point, things become intolerable. And here we're seeing not revolution, but how things become intolerable on the personal level, so that the guy's like, this is too much. I can't take it. I got to get out of here.